Namaste students and very good morning to all of you. Today in this video I am going to discuss the chapter number 2. This is sectors of the Indian economy. So students, an economy is best understood when you study the components or sectors. Chapter 2 sectors of the Indian economy. You will learn 3 types of classification of economy. This classification is done on the basis of nature of activity. When we will see sectors on the basis of nature of activity, then we will get 3 types of sectors. First, primary sector, second, secondary sector, and third, tertiary sector or service sector. Students, when we will see the sectors according to conditions of work, then we will get sectors are 2 types, organized sector and unorganized sector. And when we will see sectors in terms of ownership, then we will get private sector and public sector. Students, in this video we will discuss the first sectors on the basis of nature of activity. Students, here's some picture is given. This one picture, this one picture, this is another picture. Again, this is one picture and this is one picture. So there are different types of nature of activity is given. So depending this, we can see the sectors of economy. There are 3 types of sectors. Here it is given. One is primary sector, second is secondary sector, third is service sector. Let's see what is primary sector. So here students see there are many activities that are undertaken by directly using natural resources. Take for example the cultivation of cotton. It takes place within a crop season for depend mainly but not entirely on natural factors like rainfall, sunshine and climate. The product of this activity, cotton, is a natural product, and similarly in the case of an activity like dairy, we are dependent on the biological process of the animals and availability of food, etc. So students, here we will just see what is primary sector, what is secondary sector, and what is tertiary sector. So first, what is primary sector? So here, primary sector, when we produce a goods by extraction and collection of natural resources, it is known as the primary sector. So what are the example? There are different types of example is given. So here see, this is agriculture, dairy, fishing, then forestry. These are the primary sector. And next, what is secondary sector? Secondary sectors covers activity in which natural products are sent into other manufacturing process are required here. It is also called the industrial sector. And for example, we can give different type of example here. Using cotton fiber from the plant we spin yarn and weave cloth, and using sugar cane as raw materials we make sugar or gur. So this is the example of secondary sector. So here example is given. This is example of secondary sector. The next, what is tertiary sector? Tertiary sector includes the activities that help in the development of the primary and secondary sectors, and these activities by themselves do not produce a good, but they are an aid or support for the production process. So it is also called the service sector. There are different types of example you can give. These example are teachers, doctors, washermen, barbers, cobblers, lawyers, call centers, software companies, etc. So these are the example of service sector. Now here one activity is given, you just do it. So comparing the three sector, the various production in the primary, secondary and tertiary sector produce a very large number of goods and services. Also, the three sector have large number of people working in them to produce these goods and services. And there is one precaution one has to take. Not every goods that is produced and sold also need to be counted. So here it is said that, so from the three sectors, whatever is produced, so how do we count the various goods and services, and how we will know the total production in each sectors? So to know the total production in each sectors, so first we will compare the three sectors, their production, their employment opportunity. So all this we will now compare. So here see, before going to know the total production of each sector, first we have to understand what is final goods and services. So final goods and services means those goods are ready to use, means which is not go to the further production. So here example is, we can take suppose bread. So bread is a final goods, and to make bread or biscuit we need wheat and flour. So here with the help of final goods and services we will count the total production of the economy. So here again one point is that GDP. So GDP what? When we will take the money value of all the final goods and services from these three sectors, primary, secondary, tertiary, then we will get the gross domestic product or GDP. That is why GDP is said that the sum of production in the three sectors. And this GDP is the value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year, and it shows how big the economy is. In India, the task of measuring the GDP, who is undertaken this responsibility? The central government ministry. So here now we will see the historical sense in sector. Generally, it has been noted that the history of many now developed countries that at initial stages of development, primary sector was the most important sector of economic activity. Means if we see the countries who are developed now, they are in the initial stage, primary sector was the important sector of economic activity. But with the development of the farming, sense and agriculture, their economic activities is now changing. People are now able to doing buying and selling activities, and they are also doing the transport, administrators, army, etc. with the development of the sense and agriculture sector. So here again this see over long time, more than 100 years, and especially because new method of manufacturing were introduced, factories came up and started expanding, and those people who had earlier worked in farms, now they began to work in factories in large numbers. So now with the development of the agriculture and farming, and with the development of the machines and technology, people are able to do in the different sites. So here one graph is there. So from that graph we will get the knowledge GDP, means gross domestic product, from the three sector: primary, secondary and tertiary. So here it is said that graph 1 shows the production of goods and services in the three sectors, and this is shown for 2 years, 1973 to 74 and 2013 to 14. So from this two bar diagram, we will get the knowledge of the difference of the GDP in 1973 and in 2013. So here you see the GDP by the primary, secondary and tertiary sector is very less in 1973 and 74, but with the development of the farming or agricultural activities and with the development of technology, now all the sectors, primary, secondary, tertiary sector, the GDP is increasing in 2013 to 14. But thing is that if we see the importance of the three sector, then we will get that the importance of the tertiary sector now rising. But we have already come to know that whatever developed countries, their initial stages, agriculture was the most important sector. But now the development of the agriculture and farming, the importance of the tertiary sector rising. Why it is rising? There are 4 reasons is given. What are the 4 reasons? So now see. So the first is services such as hospital, educational institutions, post and telegraph services, police stations, courts, village administrative officer, municipal corporation, defense, transport, banks, insurance companies, etc. are considered as basic services and are necessary for all people. So these services are now people are demanding. That is why the importance of tertiary sector is rising. The second, the development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of services such as export, trade and storage, etc. So with the development of agriculture, they are able to produce more productions. Also, they are able to sell some of the production to the other area, to the another side. So for that they will get the income, and for that development of the agriculture, the transport facility is needed, because to carry from one place to another place, and to keep their overproduction, the storage facility also needed. Now the trade, it is also become increasing day by day. So next, the third. So what is third? See, with the rise in income of people, they start demanding more service like eating out, tourism. Their lifestyle is now changing, shopping. They are able to go in the private hospital for treatment. they are able to give their children education in private school, and their professional training also increase day by day. There is needed. And again, fourth, last, over the past decade, certain new service based on information. Now you see the information and communication technology. This is important, very important, and this is essential, and day by day their importance is increasing. So due to these four reasons, in India, the tertiary sectors emerged as the largest producing sector, and it is also very important, become important. Next, if we see the share of sectors GDP and share of sectors in employment, we will see the first difference. Here see graph 2, share of sectors in GDP. See, in 1973-74, the share of sectors in GDP from the primary sector, primary sector is more than the secondary sector, and tertiary sector also increased. But if we see in 2013-14, the tertiary sector is more, but primary sector is very few, very less, if we compare with 1973-74. So here, a remarkable fact about India is that while there has been a change in the share of the three sectors in GDP, a similar shift has not taken place in employment. Graph 3, here see the share of sectors in employment. There is a first difference. See, in the above diagram, here we have seen that the share of tertiary sector is more than in 1970-74. But here if we see the share of sectors in employment, then see most of the people are engaged in primary sector in 1977-78, and in 2017-18 the share of sectors in employment is less in primary sectors. In 1977-78, share of sectors in employment in primary sector is more, but in 2017-18 share of sectors in employment from primary sector is very few. But if we see the share of sectors in employment in tertiary sector is increased than 1977-78, but it is not what? It is not similar shift has taken place in employment. So graph 3 shows the share of employment in the three sectors in 1977-78 and 2017-18. The primary sector continues to be the largest employer even now. But here it is said that the share of sectors in GDP from the tertiary sector is more in 2013-14. But thing is that employment opportunity is still giving more in primary sector. But now question is that where are the most people are employed? From this graph we have got that graph 2, it is said that graph 2 present percentage share of the three sector in GDP. Now you can directly see the changing importance of the three sector over the 40 years. So what changes? See, a remark we have seen already, we discussed this. Now next point. So here this question answer we have got. Where are the most people are employed? In the primary sector it is more, because in the graph 2 it is said that the share of the three sector in GDP is more from the tertiary sector, but the employment opportunity is giving more still today, even today, in the primary sector. Now here question is that next point is underemployment. What is underemployment and what is next again, what is disguised unemployment? So underemployment or disguised employment, this is two types of unemployment. People who are working, suppose want to work, but at the present working rate they are unable to work. This is the situation of unemployment. Actually they are want to work at the present rate, wage rate, but work is not available. This is the situation of unemployment. But underemployment, what? Underemployment means people working less than their potential. They have potential but they are working very less. And disguised unemployment, what? Disguised unemployment means more number of people working than actually needed. Where it is in the agriculture, we can see this. People are more number of people are working, but their production is zero. Next, so here, but in the agriculture side or in the another side, but generally in a rural area, question is that how to create more employment. If we see the rural area, the primary sector, more than half of the workers in India are working in the primary sector, mainly in agriculture. But if we see the secondary sector and tertiary sector, these sectors employ less than half of the people as compared to the primary sector. This primary and secondary sector produce 4/5 of the product, but the primary sector contributes only a quarter of the GDP. So to increase or to create more employment, government what to do? Employment can be given to people by identifying, promoting and locating industries and services in semi-rural areas. Here see, from the discussion, what we see, we can see that there continues to be considerable underemployment in agriculture. There are also people who are not employed at all. In what ways we can increase employment in for people? Let us look some them. So here one example is given is, suppose this is Lakshmi. So Lakshmi suppose have 2 hectare plot of unirrigated land, but when government spend some money or given bank loans to them, they are able to suppose construct well, means irrigate the land. So when they will get the facility of crop, they or the irrigation facility, mean water facility, they can produce crop and wheat during the Rabi season also. So when they produce more production with the help of government facilities, or suppose government constructed a new dam in their area to irrigate many such farms, then these people are able to produce more production. When the Lakshmi's family suppose able to produce more production, whatever their more production, now they have to think, they will think to sell some of this in the another area in the market. So to transport these products, there need a good transport facilities and road condition. And when government will give these facilities, then other member of their family, they are able to take this facility, suppose transport facilities, and suppose they are bought a mini truck, and suppose this other family member, they are able to got the chance of the other activities. So with these facilities, they are able to earn money. So to create more employment, first government have to identify or promoting or locating industries in semi-rural areas. And when every state or region has to potential for increasing the income and employment for people in that area, it can be done by tourism, regional craft industry, new service like IT. Government of India, this is the Niti Aayog, when they doing census, they estimated that nearly 20 lakh people, 20 lakh jobs, not people, lakh job can be created in the educational sector. And again, there are different types of sites from where we can increase more employment opportunity. So here one example we can give this. If we are to improve the health situation, we need many more doctors, nurses, health workers, etc. to work in rural areas. These are some ways by which jobs would be created, and we would also be able to address the important aspect of development talk about in chapter 1 where we have talked what is a development. So if we develop these facilities, then the working opportunity also increase. In this way we can create more people. There are different sites of area from where we can increase the employment opportunities. So after that, here one scheme we will discuss now. This is MGNREGA 2005. So what is MGNREGA? Actually, this is the central government in India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India, which is called Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005. So under this scheme, what is, all those who are able to and are in need of work in rural areas are guaranteed 100 days of employment in a year by the government. And if the government fails in its duty to provide employment, it will give unemployment allowances to the people. So here this means under this MGNREGA, it is given the implementing right to work. So what is MGNREGA? This is all about. Here it is given 100 days work will given. If government unable to give this 100 days work, then they will give the unemployment allowances to the people. So students, this was today. In the next video we will discuss the another two topic, very important topic. This is the sectors according to conditions of work. This is division of sectors as organized and unorganized. And one topic is that we will discuss, this is the sectors in terms of ownership. This is the public and private. So we will discuss in the next video. So today, thank you.